She used to ignore your texts, leave you on read, say she wasn't ready. You tried harder, gave more, lost yourself chasing her approval. But nothing worked until you did the opposite. You stopped reacting, you stopped proving, and something changed. Now she's watching your stories, asking who you're with, texting you first. What happened? You didn't get more attractive. You didn't buy anything flashy. You just discovered how the female mind works beneath the surface. There are weaknesses, hidden ones, that every man overlooks. But when you understand them, she'll chase you, crave you, and she won't even know why. Comment below. I choose stoic power if you're done chasing and ready to flip the game. 1. Craves emotional mystery. She had a great time with you. You walked her to her car. You smiled, said goodnight, and left. No long text recap. No, I had fun tonight message. Just silence. And now she's confused. She's checking her phone, refreshing your chat window, wondering what she did wrong. This is not manipulation. It's emotional mystery. And here's the truth. Women are not attracted to answers. They're drawn to questions. When you're too available, too expressive, too quick to explain your every thought, you kill the tension. And tension is everything. Mystery makes her think. It makes her feel. It activates a part of her brain most men never touch. Because she's not wired to fall for what's easy. She falls for what she can't figure out. When a woman feels like she understands you completely, she puts you in a box. And the moment you're in that box, she stops wondering. She stops chasing. But when you remain unpredictable, calm, yet unreadable, you become a puzzle, a challenge, a story she needs to finish. Most guys kill mystery by over-explaining, by filling every silence, by always trying to clarify what they meant, what they feel, and what they want. But the more predictable you become, the faster she loses interest. You don't have to ghost her. You don't have to ignore her. But you do have to hold something back. Give her just enough to get curious, but not enough to feel certain. Silence is power. Control your words the way a king controls his army, never wasted, always precise. And what happens when you do this? She starts asking questions. Not out loud, but in her mind. Does he even like me? Why hasn't he called? Is he always this distant, or am I different? Every question she asks herself pulls her deeper into you. Because the truth is, the more a woman thinks about you, the more she feels about you. And what sparks that thought? Mystery, ambiguity, emotional contrast. So instead of pouring your heart out and laying all your cards on the table, hold a few back. Let her earn the next layer of you. Let her wonder what's behind that calm smile. Let her chase the feeling you give her when she doesn't have full control. She won't tell you this. She may even say she hates it. But the moment she can't read you is the moment you've got her full attention. And that's when the chase begins. If she can read you like a book, she'll put you down by chapter 2. But if she can't predict the next page, she'll stay hooked, guessing, invested, and eventually, chasing. 2. Responds to selective attention. She's used to attention, endless validation, constant notifications. Her phone lights up every 10 minutes, guys liking her stories, commenting on her posts, sending heart emojis and fire reacts. She doesn't chase it. It just shows up. That's why when you flood her with the same, you become part of the noise. Another name in the lineup. Another guy who's too available. The problem isn't that you gave her attention. The problem is that you gave it away too easily. You gave it like it meant nothing. And if your attention is cheap, so is your value. But here's what most men don't realize. Your attention is currency. And she only values it when it feels earned. When you validate her every selfie, reply in seconds, drop compliments, like it's your job, you rob her of the emotional high that selective attention gives. See, a woman doesn't want just anyone's attention. She wants the attention of the man who doesn't give it to everyone. The man whose eyes are focused, who chooses where he places his energy. And when that man looks her way, it hits different. It matters. It's not about playing games or pretending not to care. It's about knowing your worth. If she knows she can have your attention at any time, it loses all weight. But if your attention feels rare, if it feels earned, it becomes powerful. That's why the guy who texts her all day, compliments her every hour, and says, "Good morning, beautiful," every morning, rarely wins. She might appreciate him. She might like the ego boost. But she doesn't chase him, because he's already hers. There's no mystery, no gap to close, no fire to feed. Now contrast that with the man who gives his attention with intent. Not to flatter, but to connect. Not constantly, but occasionally and meaningfully. She posts a story. He sees it, but doesn't react. She texts. He waits, finishes what he's doing, then replies with depth. No fluff, no emojis, just presence. That man stands out. Because now, she's questioning her own place. Is he not interested? Did I say something wrong? Why isn't he like the others? And that question, that emotional imbalance, is what draws her in. Not because he's ignoring her, but because he's not throwing himself at her feet. He's grounded, centered, and busy with a life that doesn't revolve around impressing her. Selective attention doesn't mean being cold. It means your time, your words, your presence, they're valuable. You don't hand them out for free. You make people rise to earn them. And when she does get it, when you do compliment her, when you say something warm, sincere, and rare, it hits like lightning. Because it's not just another line. It's the voice of a man who chooses what and who he invests in. That's the kind of man she chases. Not the one who gives everything without being asked, but the one who gives just enough to keep her wondering what he'll give next. Remember, attention isn't attractive, but disciplined attention, that's irresistible. Give less, mean more, and she'll lean in, trying to earn the parts of you that no one else gets. 2. Responds to selective attention. She's surrounded by attention. From the moment she wakes up, it's there, messages, likes, compliments, DMs from guys hoping to stand out. But none of it moves her. Not really. Because when everyone is giving, nothing feels valuable. It's all too easy. So when you show up and do the same texting constantly, complimenting endlessly, reacting to every post, you don't separate yourself. You blend in. You become background noise. Most men think giving more attention equals more affection. But in her world, abundance means nothing. What she craves isn't more of the same. She craves what's rare. And that's where selective attention becomes powerful. When you treat your attention like it costs you something, like it's tied to your time, your energy, your peace, she starts to notice. Because now, when you look her way, it means something. The guy who replies in 2 seconds, who watches all her stories, who showers her in good mornings, he's not a mystery. He's expected. Predictable. She knows what he'll say before he says it. But the man who waits, who replies on his own time, who gives space and then depth when he does engage, that man gets remembered. You're not withholding because you're cold. You're withholding because you're intentional. You don't seek to impress, you express value without desperation. When you give your attention in small, meaningful doses, she starts to anticipate the next one. She starts to feel the silence. She starts to wonder, why hasn't he messaged? Did he even notice me? Who else has his focus? And in those silent questions, something powerful happens. She starts to chase. Not because you manipulated her, but because you positioned yourself as uncommon, as valuable, as centered. You have things to do. A mission. A life. Your attention is not a free sample, it's a reward. And when she gets it, when she earns that moment of praise or presence or warmth, it lands 10 times harder. Because it's rare. Because you chose to give it, not because you had to, but because it meant something. That's the secret. Don't chase her with constant attention. Make her feel the difference when you choose to give it. And when she realizes that not everyone gets your energy, she'll want to be the exception. Attention doesn't make her chase. Scarcity does. Be selective. Be intentional. And she'll lean in, wondering when the next spark from you will land. 3. Soft spot for quiet confidence. He walks into the room, and doesn't say much. No loud greetings. No flashy outfit. No need to dominate the space. But people notice him. She notices him. He's the one sitting calmly in the corner. Observing. Not chasing attention, but not hiding either. Just grounded. Present. Still. There's something magnetic about a man who doesn't need the spotlight, yet holds it anyway. Something powerful about the one who lets his silence speak. It's not arrogance. It's not shyness. It's quiet confidence, and women feel it. See, overconfidence is loud. It's the man trying to prove himself, boasting about what he owns, who he knows, what he's done. It's insecurity in disguise, always reaching for validation, always performing. But confidence? Real confidence? It's quiet. It's calm. It doesn't seek approval because it already knows its value. And women respond to that. Not because you're trying to impress her, but because you aren't. When you're unbothered by her beauty, unmoved by her tests, unfazed by whether she likes you or not, you become unforgettable. Most men try to win her with words, but a Stoic man wins her with presence. Because presence creates pressure. It forces her to notice what isn't being said. It makes her curious about what's beneath the surface. It invites her to chase the stillness that so many men fear. Quiet confidence signals mastery of your emotions, of your time, of your identity. You're not rattled by chaos. You don't react to noise. You don't need to announce your power, you embody it. And the more she can't figure you out, the more she wants to. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because you are hard to shake. That's rare. That's attractive. She's used to men who overcompensate, men who try too hard to be alpha, men who collapse the moment they feel ignored. But you're different. You say little but mean everything. You hold eye contact not to intimidate but to anchor. You speak when it counts, and when you don't, your silence says more than noise ever could. And in a world of men who chase applause, she'll chase the one man who doesn't even clap for himself. You don't need to speak louder. You need to stand firmer. Let your posture speak. Let your discipline speak. Let your silence speak. Because when you walk in full of quiet confidence, she'll follow with loud curiosity. 4. Emotional validation addiction. She posts a picture. Within minutes, the comments flood in gorgeous. Queen. One emoji after another. One compliment stacked on top of the last. All predictable. All easy. So when you slide in with another one, you're not surprising her. You're just another echo. What you don't realize is this. She's addicted to validation but numb to it at the same time. She expects it. She craves it. But it no longer moves her. And when something becomes expected, it becomes meaningless. Most men think compliments are the secret, that praising her constantly will win her heart. But when she hears it every day, from everyone, it loses weight. She smiles when they call her pretty but forgets them just as fast. That's where your power comes in. Because the moment you stop feeding the validation loop, she starts to notice. She starts to feel the gap, the emotional silence. You didn't say she was beautiful. You didn't double tap her latest selfie. You didn't give her the dopamine hit she's used to. And now, she's wondering why. That tension, that missing validation becomes a trigger. Not of rejection, but of curiosity. Why didn't he compliment me? Does he not think I'm attractive? Is he different? Now, instead of being just another source of approval, you become a mystery. A puzzle. A man she needs to understand. Because if you're not giving her the thing everyone else does so easily, she'll assume you know something they don't. And she'll chase that difference. You don't win her by ignoring her. You win her by showing restraint. By letting your silence carry weight. And when you do compliment her rarely, intentionally, unexpectedly, it lands. It hits with force. Because it's real. Because it doesn't come from a place of need. You're not validating her to get attention. You're affirming what you see when it actually matters. That's the key. Not flattery. Not noise. Just calm, deliberate recognition given only when deserved. Women don't remember what they always hear. They remember what they didn't expect. They remember the man who didn't follow the script, who looked her in the eye, said nothing, and still made her feel seen. That's the power of withdrawal, of standing in the gap between what she's used to and what she's never felt before. Validation is cheap. Your silence? That's priceless. Let other men chase her with words. You? Make her chase your approval without even realizing it. 5. Needs a mental match. She's beautiful. She knows it. So do the 100 guys in her DMs. They all say the same thing. You're gorgeous. You're perfect. I'd do anything for you. But here's what most of them miss. She doesn't stay for compliments. She stays for stimulation. Not physical, mental. She's surrounded by men who adore her looks. But very few ever challenge her thoughts. Very few make her think differently. And that's exactly what she's starving for. A man who sees beyond the surface. Who doesn't just respond but questions. Who doesn't just agree but challenges. Not to argue. Not to control. But to elevate the conversation. Because a woman's emotions are triggered through her mind. If she can feel mentally seen, mentally stimulated, mentally respected, she'll become emotionally hooked. It's easy to flatter her body, but it takes presence to challenge her mind. When you ask deep questions, not generic ones, she lights up. When you listen, then go deeper. When you say, "Why do you believe that?" Or, "Who taught you to think that way?" You wake up something inside her that most men never touch. And that moment, that mental tension, becomes emotional gravity. You become different. You're no longer just a man, you're a mirror. You make her reflect, question herself, open up, even if she didn't plan to. Because women aren't just emotional, they're intellectually layered. And when you're the first man to explore that layer, she won't forget it. Most guys want her attention. You want her truth, her perspective, her contradictions, her beliefs, her why. And when she gives it to you and you still remain composed, grounded, unmoved, she feels safe. Not in a soft way, in a powerful way. Safe to be seen. Safe to be vulnerable. Safe to be real. That's what builds emotional intimacy. That's what makes her feel like you get her in a way no one else does. And that's what makes her chase more of it. Because now, it's not about your looks or your status. It's about how you make her feel about herself. The right words, said at the right moment. From the right mindset, they go deeper than any gift or gesture. So next time she's talking, don't rush to respond. Don't reach for the most charming reply. Slow down. Listen. And ask the question no one else dares to. Because once she feels mentally connected, her body and emotions will follow. She doesn't just need a man who looks good on paper. She needs a man who speaks to her mind. Be that man and she'll never look at you the same way again. Section 6. Drawn to men she can't control. She doesn't want control. Even if she says she does. Even if she acts like she needs to know everything where you are, what you're thinking, how you feel. The moment she fully understands you, she starts to lose interest. Why? Because control kills curiosity. And curiosity is the spark that keeps her emotionally invested. When a woman feels like she's figured you out, your habits, your reactions, your schedule, your emotions, she stops feeling pulled. She relaxes. She stops wondering. And slowly, she stops chasing. See, she doesn't consciously want chaos. But she craves a man she can't manage. Someone whose emotions don't swing with hers. Someone who doesn't jump at her every mood shift. Someone who doesn't need her approval to breathe. Most men try so hard to be the nice guy, the safe guy, the predictable guy. But in trying to become what she says she wants, they become what she walks away from. Because deep down she's drawn to something she can't fully hold. Not because you're toxic, but because you're grounded. Because your life, your mindset, your peace doesn't revolve around her. You're not cold. You're just calm. You're not distant. You're just disciplined. She tests you. Not to push you away, but to see if you'll fold. She wants to feel your strength. Not in your muscles, in your mind. And when you stay composed while she's emotional, When you don't chase when she pulls away, when you don't explain yourself every time she asks, that's when she feels it. That magnetic resistance. The mystery. The presence. You're not giving her chaos. You're giving her contrast. A man she can't predict. A man she can't command. A man whose world doesn't shake just because she blinks differently. And that's the man she remembers. The one who walked calmly through her storms. The one who didn't change just to make her feel better. The one who made her feel something she couldn't explain and couldn't stop thinking about. You want to know the fastest way to lose her interest? Be completely controlled by your need to be liked. Be overly available. Be overly agreeable. Be someone she can manage. But when she feels like she doesn't have a grip on you, that's when she leans in closer. That's when she tries harder. That's when she chases. She doesn't want a man she can mold. She wants a man she can respect. So don't shrink yourself to fit her expectations. Stand firm in who you are. Let her meet you there or walk away. Either way, you don't bend. You don't break. You don't become soft just to be held. Because when she feels that unshakable energy, that's when she truly wants you, and not because she has you, but because she can't control you. 7. Craves masculine stability. She may act strong, independent, loud. She may talk back, roll her eyes, test your patience. But deep beneath all that noise, she's looking for one thing. Stability. Not the kind you put in your bank account. The kind you carry in your soul. Because the modern world makes her chaotic. Emotional swings, mental overload, social pressure, insecurity, doubt. She's pulled in every direction until she finds someone unmoved. That's what draws her in. Not how tall you are. Not how nice your words sound. But how calm you are when she's not. Most men mirror her chaos. She gets emotional. They get emotional. She overreacts, they panic. She withdraws, they chase. And suddenly, no one's leading. No one's anchoring the moment. It's two unstable energies crashing into each other. But you're different. When she gets loud, you stay grounded. When she tests you, you smile calmly. When she pulls away, you don't beg. You breathe. You remain still. That stillness? It speaks louder than any argument. It tells her, I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to hold the line. That's masculine stability. The unshakable presence that calms her storm. Not by controlling her, but by not letting her chaos control you. Women don't need a man who reacts. They need a man who responds. Slowly, clearly, firmly. Not with force, with certainty. When she pushes and you don't move, she feels safe. Not because she won, but because you didn't lose yourself. She might not say it out loud, but inside she feels it. This man won't collapse under pressure. This man won't be swayed by moods. This man can handle me. And the moment she feels that, she relaxes. She softens. She trusts. Because now she knows. If life shakes her, you won't shake too. You'll be the one she reaches for, not to save her, but to stabilize her. Masculine stability isn't about silence. It's about peace. It's about the energy that says, I'm not here to prove myself. I'm here to be myself. You don't yell. You don't chase. You don't flinch. And because of that, she starts to lean in. Because in your stillness, she finds safety. And in that safety, she starts to feel. So next time she tests your mood, your tone, your patience, don't react. Observe. Stay centered. That quiet strength, that calm certainty, it'll make her feel something she doesn't even understand. But she'll chase it because she can't find it anywhere else. 8. Addicted to the high-low dynamic. She says she wants peace. Stability. No drama. No confusion. And part of her does. But here's the truth. Most men never realize. She's addicted to emotional contrast. To the highs and lows. To the tension and release. To the feeling of something happening. Because still water is safe. But it's also forgettable. What she's drawn to, what lights up her nervous system, is contrast. Moments of emotional intensity, followed by quiet calm. A surge of passion followed by distance. It's the roller coaster. The unpredictability. The emotional heartbeat of a story she can't predict. That's why when you're always nice, always predictable, always available, she grows numb. She stops feeling. And once she stops feeling, she stops caring. It's not that she wants chaos. She just needs contrast. She wants the fire and the calm. The man who pulls her in with passion, then leaves her in suspense. Not as a game, but as a rhythm. And the man who understands this, who knows how to create that emotional rhythm, becomes unforgettable. You don't have to be toxic. You don't have to play games. You just have to stop being flat. Flat emotions. Flat tone. Flat routine. She gets bored. Fast. But when you challenge her, laugh with her, ignore her for a day, then kiss her like you can't breathe without her, now she's feeling again. Now she's alive. It's not about mistreating her. It's about stimulating her. By knowing when to give more, and when to pull back. When to show up, and when to let her come to you. When to give warmth, and when to hold silence. Most men don't do this. They're either too soft or too cold, too needy or too distant. They don't know how to dance with her emotions. But you give her an experience. One she can't find anywhere else. Because while other men try to make her comfortable, you make her feel something. And once a woman starts feeling, she starts chasing. Because feelings are addictive. And you become the source of them. You become the man she can't read, but can't stop thinking about. The man who brings both fire and stillness. Who creates tension, then relieves it. Who disappears, then returns with presence. It's the contrast she can't resist. The emotional highs and lows she pretends she doesn't want, but keeps going back to. So don't just offer her comfort. Offer her movement, emotion, polarity. That's what keeps her locked in. Not the comfort of knowing you'll always be there, but the thrill of wondering what you'll do next. 10. Needs to feel chosen, not chased. She doesn't want to be chased, even though it seems like she does. Even though every romantic movie and social media post says win her over, prove your love, chase until she says yes. But the truth? She doesn't want to be convinced. She wants to be chosen. She wants to feel like the man who could have anyone chose her. Not out of desperation. Not out of effort. But out of clarity. When you chase, you're telling her she's above you. That she holds the power. That you're trying to earn what she hasn't even offered. But when you move with purpose, when you stand still while others run, when you observe instead of pursue, you send a different message. That your time is valuable. Your attention is selective. Your affection is a gift, not a prize she hands out. You're not chasing because you don't need her. And paradoxically, that's exactly when she wants to be near you most. Because now, you're not proving anything. You're simply being. Being the man who chooses, who evaluates, who recognizes value but doesn't pedestal it. You're grounded. You don't rush. You move from intention, not impulse. And when you do choose her, when you give her your energy, your attention, your loyalty, it lands. It means something. Because it wasn't handed out blindly. It was deliberate. She feels the weight of it. She feels the difference between being chased and being chosen. One feels like desperation. The other feels like devotion. But only one builds respect. Most men think persistence proves love. But real love doesn't beg to be seen. It stands tall. It holds space. It lets her come closer if she's ready. Because the truth is, you don't chase what you're aligned with. You attract it. By who you are. By how you move. By the energy you carry without saying a word. And when you live that way, she can feel it. In your silence, in your restraint, in the way you look at her without needing anything in return. That's what makes her lean in. Not the pressure to be with you, but the privilege of being chosen by you. Let every man chase her. You stay grounded. Let every man seek her approval. You offer your presence and watch what she does with it. And if she rises to meet it, If she reciprocates with the same calm, focused energy, then maybe, just maybe, she was worth choosing after all. So now you know. She doesn't chase words. She chases presence. She doesn't crave comfort. She craves emotional polarity. She doesn't fall for the man who gives everything. She falls for the one who withholds just enough to keep her wondering. You don't have to be rich, or famous, or perfect. You just have to be still in a world of noise, disciplined in a world of reaction, unmoved in a world where men are always chasing. These 10 hidden triggers? They're not about manipulation. They're about mastery. Of yourself, of your energy, of how you respond and what you choose not to respond to. When you become that man, the one who chooses instead of chases, she feels it. Not just in her mind, but in her body. That's when she starts thinking about you, dreaming about you, wanting to be close without fully understanding why. It's not your looks. It's not your charm. It's your gravity. So let me ask you, which of these 10 weaknesses have you already mastered? And which one are you working on starting today? Drop a comment below. I choose Stoic power. Let the world know you're not chasing anymore, you're leading. And if you're serious about becoming the kind of man she respects, desires, and can never control, AGE. Subscribe now for more Stoic high-value insights, the kind most men will never learn. Hit that bell because next week's video might just be the one that changes everything. Until then, stay calm, stay grounded, and let her chase you.